It had been a strange and scary couple of days since I encountered the dark figure that tried to snatch me from the bed. I also had 2 incidents of people allegedly saw a woman around me at work, one kid saying that a woman was scary. I really freaked out and finally accepted that I couldn't be alone anymore. And although my mom and I were still in difficult terms, I swallowed my pride and went home. A year after my dad passed away, my mom and I moved to a single-storied house with 2 bedrooms in a quaint neighborhood. My brother lived with his friends, but he often visited just to check on mom and collect free dinner. I reached home around 6 p.m. and saw my mom in the kitchen. I didn't say anything to her and went straight to my room. I felt safe and protected right away in my own space, but mostly it was because my mom was right outside. Sadly, I still had some ego, so I avoided her. And gradually, the exhaustion loaded me to sleep. I woke up, perhaps a couple of hours later, and found that my hands were all black, as if they had been dipped in ink. I took a sniff at the stain, but it didn't have any odor. I carefully eased off bed to grab a towel and wipe my hands. The blackness didn't budge. Since my bedroom didn't have a bathroom attached, I slipped to the nearest sink, which was in the kitchen. I washed my hands many times, but the stain didn't fade. At that moment, my mom walked by and asked what I was doing. I said something was on my hands and it wouldn't go away. She scoffed and said, "There's nothing. You're doing that thing you did when you were a kid." I didn't know what she meant, but continued cleaning my hands. Right then, my brother Steve barges through the door, yelling and telling my mom to call the police. My mom asked Steve what happened while he was rambling and frantically searching for something in the house. From the look of it, even he didn't know what he wanted. Then he noticed me glaring at him from the sink, and he stopped. "What?" he said. Steve explained through frustration that he just saw a monk drag me away right outside minutes ago. "That monk took you, and I ran after you," Steve said. "Monk?" I asked. He said, "Yes, he's bald and wears yellow robe. I know what a monk looks like, and I saw him drag you out of the house and through the street. I ran after you, but never reached you. So I screamed and called for help. Nobody heard me, so I ran here." I asked Steve if he was drunk or on drugs again. He said he had a few drinks, but he was completely lucid. Strangely, people around me seemed to be hallucinated. Then my mom asked what did the monk look like. Steve said, "I don't know, just like all other monks." And it was far. I never got close enough. I brushed it off and told him that whatever he was on made him see things. That night, my brother felt a little jumpy, but he was firm about what he saw. Deep down, Steve's supposed encounter bothered me. But since Steve's few drinks was more than the actual amount of a few drinks, I decided to try to forget it. My mom heated some food for Steve, and they hung out in the kitchen for a while. I didn't enjoy them, but their mumbling seeped through my wall when I drifted into sleep. After that night, everything seemed to get back to normal. I didn't have a scary visitor at night, and somehow my relationship with my mom began to get better. It wasn't overly cheery like how it used to be, but at least we talked and sometimes had dinner together. 2 weeks went by and my life fell back in place. I had enough sleep. I even sat for dinner with Steve and Mom almost every night. My fear of the unknown shrank, and when I looked back at it, there were logics for everything. Stressed, that was it. It all started when I fought with my mom, and when we began to get along, all the strange incidents were gone. One evening, while we were having dinner, my big sister Helen Skype called us. She was surprised to see Mom, Steve, and I in the same room. We caught up, made jokes, and even planned a family trip to Thailand in summer. Then Helen blurted out, "Monk." Suddenly, Mom, Steve, and I were quiet. I thought of that night when Steve stormed in with his vivid delusions right away. After a long moment, Mom asked, "What monk?" Helen said, "The one who had just walked by. You had a ceremony today, but why is he still there?" I laughed bitterly and asked, "Did Steve put you up to this?" Helen seemed confused and said, "No, but the monk had just walked by behind all of you." Everyone was quiet again, and Helen asked, "Did I miss something?" Right then, I felt a chill crawling down my spine, prompting me to turn around just as Mom and Steve did. My heart dropped, something hot sticking in my throat, for I saw a man in yellow robe glided inside my bedroom. I screamed, and so did Mom and Steve. We jumped to our feet and clung to one another. Helen yelled at us too, more anxious than scared. It took a while for the both of us to calm down and decided to look for what we thought we saw. We didn't see anyone in my room, but it was the first time that I had seen the unexplainable so clear and in detail, as if he was right there and real. And it wasn't just me anymore. All three of us had seen it. Even Helen, who was thousands of miles away, had seen it too. I told my mom about the dark entity and the incident at the cafe. This was the turning point in my life, because I couldn't imagine what my mom would say to me. She said, "You're the monk's daughter." I had never thought much about the unseen until more than 2 weeks ago, when I encountered the shadowy figure that tried to snatch me from the bed. Several occasions since I came home and things seemed to get back to normal. I shrugged it off as sleep paralysis, an apparently common condition which people could experience once in a while in their lifetimes. Another concerning matter, the one area than the first, was people seeing strange characters around me. Something was happening, but I did my best to deny it. But now, even Helen has seen the monk as Steve did. And that monk now was real to all of us tonight. He was clear and looked alive, walking by as a monk would do in Thailand's morning street. It was too quick for me to register his face, but he was about 50, tall and skinny, wrapped in a flowy dark yellow robe. I knew it, Steve said. "This is why you're not like Helen and me." I was stunned that a possibility ran through my mind. I wasn't like my sister and brother who would listen to my mom and get things done right. They are obedient, but I'm all over the place and difficult. "You're all my kids," Mom said. "So how is she the monk's daughter?" Steve asked. Mom looked at me but said nothing. It was impossible for my mom to cheat on my dad, let alone with a monk. I've been living with these things for weeks now, and I'm losing my mind. Now I would like to have a clear and honest explanation. I shivered. That was where Mom began to tell us about the monk. One summer, when I was 4 years old, my whole family was in Thailand. Most of the time we traveled to different parts of the country, but at least a week we stayed at my grandparents' house. When we arrived at Mom's hometown, our relatives were shocked to see how skinny I was. Mom said I had become extremely picky. I wouldn't eat. I woke up at night screaming and thinking that my hands were black. I was rude and swore a lot, although no one in the family used that kind of language. Nobody really enjoyed the visit because my behavior ruined everything. Most nights, I would yell that my hands were black and curse horrid mean demands until someone took me to the bathroom to wash my hands. My mom grew frustrated, but my dad said it was only a phase. Our conservative Thai relatives, however, blames my mom's parenting and said that perhaps raising children in the States wasn't a good idea. I didn't know what got into me. I didn't remember that part of my life at all. Mom said Grandma told her about the rituals of pledging children to monks. In some Buddhist culture, troubled children, kids who suffer health problems, or the ones who want good fortunes are adopted by monks or even offered to the sacred statues. It is believed that the grace and good merit of the adoptive guardians will fix the unruly things and support good karma in the children. My mom agreed to this ritual right away, and my dad didn't say anything about it. All he wanted was for Mom to enjoy the vacation. One morning, while my dad and my siblings went to a park, Grandma, Mom, and I headed to a temple. I didn't remember what happened that day, but I knew the temple because it was only 100 feet from my grandparents' home, and we went there many times. It was a nice quaint place with lots of trees and a large ground. The archy roofs are gorgeous and painted with gold color. My grandma led us to the ceremony hall. A monk who was sweeping the leaves under a huge tree approached us and asked if we needed help. Grandma said we came to meet the abbot for the child pledging ritual. and the monks informed us that the abbot was not at the temple and would be back in a few weeks. Mom was very disappointed because we only had a few days left in the village. She really set her mind for this thing, hoping that it would help me. The monk then offered to perform a ritual himself. My grandma was reluctant at first because the monk who was talking to us was quite new to this temple, but she believed in the yellow robe and really wanted my mom to feel better. So we went along with it. To tell you the truth, I don't remember any of this, but Mom said we got to a private quarter where the monks stay. He told us to prepare an envelope of cash while he arranged some candles, incense stick, and some white string in a tray. The monk began to chant and Mom prayed and set her intention of pledging me to this monk. Now before you freaked out about the whole thing, the ritual is only symbolic. The monk didn't really take me away from my mom, but it was like she gave me to him, so he, who was supposed to be a man of religion, would rub his greatness on me and guide me to be a better person. Mom's heart went to her stomach. She didn't realize that it would get real. And when the ritual ended, as per the procedure, the monk returned me to her for keepsake, telling her to take care of me for him. You were noticeably different, Mom said. Better. You stopped swearing, and more than anything, you never cried about your hands being dirty again. Everyone was surprised. The ritual worked. My mom's face had no color. I didn't know what to think of it, but unpleasantly noticed the connection between this strange occurrence and my forgotten past. Could the monks we saw tonight be the one who adopted me? If so, what did he want from me? My curiosity frightened me. I didn't blame my mom. I knew she did what she thought was right at the time, but I was confused and scared. We'll go to the temple tomorrow, Mom said, to make merit and offer it to the spirit. Seriously? Steve said and laughed timidly. More monks? One is enough. But I was desperate. I took anything that would get my life back the way it was. The next morning, we went to the nearest temple. My mom went there every other Sunday and knew a lot of people. My siblings and I went there now and then when there were huge celebrations. Truthfully, we weren't religious at all, and the only person who took spirituality seriously was only my mom. Nevertheless, we were familiar with all the Buddhist norms and cultures. Mom had arranged some stuff to donate to the temple. We prayed, and finally one of the most important parts of the whole deeds was to give the merit of my action to the person I owed it to. In Buddhist belief, karma follows you. When you did something horrible to someone, you owe it to them to set things right. My mom thought some things followed me, so I should pay good merit to make peace. To do this, I had to pour a glass of water on the ground, little by little, to signify that I was sending the good karma to them. So I went to one big tree, Mom and Steve next to me, and I knelt on the ground and slowly let the water drip from the glass. I prayed for the entity to leave me alone and hoped to have my life back. The water flowed out of the glass in my trembling hands, but I began to feel heavy. I saw a hand, just hand, a black hand as it smeared with ink, catching the water from the glass. My lungs exploded a horrible scream when the glass dropped and the hands clutched mine. The grip was cold and tight and disgusting, so I took it off and scrambled away on all four. The hand disappeared, but the chill and the blackness was still on mine. I yelled and screamed like a crazy person, so people in the temple came surrounding me. Mom and Steve didn't know what to do. I was completely out of control at that point. I remember hazily that people ushered me inside the sermon hall. 2 monks talked to my mom, while another one sprinkled holy water on me. I shivered and couldn't stop crying. I could still feel that hand and this despicable anguish on mine, so I rubbed my hands furiously. Right then, the monk said, "Stop." He looked at me through his narrowed eyes. He poured a cup of holy water on my hands and told me to be calm. I tried, and the chill and the darkness were washed away. I continued to cry, but felt slightly relieved. The monk said, I saw, I understand, but I don't know what it is. He shook his head and took a moment to form a consolation. This thing is beyond me. But my advice is you must go to the root of the problems to solve it. And there was where the chaos began. I will tell you more about it next time. Goodbye for now, Angie.